There's actually something coming from Microsoft. Microsoft teased a secret dual-screen Surface device, possibly based on that original Courier concept, which you may recall, Will. They got a lot of love, a lot of attention a little while back on this potential Courier device. This was long before we were seeing folding screens and all that. And it seemed futuristic at that moment when we first heard about this Courier. Maybe less so now, but the idea was this little notebook somewhere between a phone and a laptop. And I think in the original concept video, the person's drawing on it as well in the subway or something like this, so it would have pen input. And anyhow, the thing has apparently been in development for like 2 years, and we haven't heard too much about it. It kind of disappeared, but apparently they've been working on it. And so Will's showcasing one of the original concept videos of the Courier. Now, in 2009, when this video was published here on YouTube, Microsoft Courier Secret Tablet, this was crazy. This was very futuristic at that time. This idea of pen input, 2 screens, kind of like a notebook, completely portable. Again, long before we had heard anything about folding screens. Now, based on some of the images here of the early prototypes, I mean, it looks like a two-screen device on a hinge. But these pictures are actually old, so who knows? Maybe they would implement an actual folding display or folding display tech in the eventual product. Now, it's been very secret. Apparently, they had like an internal event. The product, the dual-screen device codenamed Centaurus, and working on it for 2 years. And apparently, they brought in different employees to check out, to catch a glimpse of what they were working on. They were also working on a smaller pocketable device codenamed Andromeda, but apparently most of their focus is on the bigger scale on this Centaurus. How about these code names, Will? Holy moly, mythological. Pegasus. Isn't that where Asus got his name from? I don't know. Anyway, you're not even supposed to say Asus, even though it's Pegasus, Pegasus, Pegasus.
Asus.
Asus.
The one I hear a lot.
Asus. People, I mean, they'll correct you all the time on that. Anyway. Now, apparently also this could be the first device to showcase something called Windows Lite, as it's codenamed internally. Could this be some sort of crossover Windows platform somewhere between a mobile OS and a desktop OS? Maybe this is what Apple's trying to do with the iPad. We just spoke about how they're making improvements to iPad OS to make it more like a desktop OS. Now, maybe Microsoft is sitting there and trying to make an OS for mobile inspired from the desktop OS, something like this. So this hardware device could be the first to showcase this Windows Lite prioritized for dual screen devices like this Centaurus. And of course, this has Intel's backing as well. Intel trying to remain relevant, encourage different brands, companies to continue to use its processors in these mobile devices, which is where the marketplace is going, obviously. So there should be a relationship there with this potential futuristic Surface product. So it's an interesting time, really, when you think about it. You have Apple focused on this iPad OS because in reality, that region, if they can develop this new standard where the iPad replaces the laptop, they can sell a lot more iPads, right? Because, you know, people with their laptops are typically pretty satisfied. I don't know. There hasn't been a lot of development in that space. And so if the iPad replaces the laptop, if the OS on the iPad becomes more laptop-like, more comprehensive, then all of a sudden you can convince customers like, hey, it's time to give up your laptop. There are benefits to the mobile device in battery life, in cooling, in scale, right? These things are incredibly thin and light. They're modular from an accessory standpoint. They pop out. You draw on them. You get deeper into the ecosystem as well. You get deeper into the App Store. You get deeper into I mean, their hooks get more into you. I think Apple would love it. And it seems to be the case. They're kind of vocal about the idea that your iPad should replace your laptop. It also reduces their dependence on companies like Intel, who currently manufacture the processors for their laptop products. You see, in these products, this has Apple's own chips inside of it, right? With both with the iPad and the iPhone. So they're more in control of the experience from that standpoint. So for me, it feels like they're rapidly trying to get this iPad up to laptop standard so that people can make that move and they can be more in control of the entire experience and more in control of the entire hardware product, more so than the Intel dependence in the laptop department. And then you got Microsoft on the flip side going the other direction. They're like, with the Surface brand, they are going for the same thing. Can we transition? What does this next generation interface look like? They obviously don't believe it's Windows as it stands right now, hence them working on this Windows Lite and this dual screen product, which started as the Courier 2 years ago and then moved into this other thing. So everyone is searching for this future of computing that exists outside of the smartphone. And it seems to me that these brands don't believe that the laptop as it exists right now is that future. So it's an interesting time for mobile computing, exciting for people like us who investigate this stuff. But I will tell you, and I'll be clear, I have not yet interacted with a mobile device outside of or different from or more modern than a laptop that has done a better job than the laptop. So I'm just going to reiterate that. You may agree, disagree. There's obviously advantages, disadvantages to each of these platforms, but there's something about the traditional old laptop form factor that still does a great job when it comes to certain tasks.